Yes, you can still hear me. Hi, my name is Jodi Scholes, and I am your instructor for the MBLEx review course. And today we are talking about guidelines to a professional practice. We are taking the information given to us by the Federation and reviewing that systematically so that you can revisit these common sense topics that maybe when you're sitting in the middle of taking a test, maybe aren't so common. Oops. So welcome to everybody who's here today. You can see we got a full house. But today we're talking about those guidelines to a professional practice. First, I want to just explain how the class works. We work in three parts. One is I'm going to give you a strategy to take the test. And that's really the difference with this particular class, this course that you're in. This community that you're in, is that we talk about the strategies of test taking. Because the MBLEx is not just a test. It is a test on how to take a test. Yeah. So just be prepared that knowledge alone, and that may have surprised you when you first took your MBLEx. Most of you have already taken the MBLEx once, just saying. And that's cool. That is a perfect journey. But this test, if you haven't taken the MBLEx yet, know that this test, you have to have a strategy. So we're going to talk about strategy in part one. So part two is our learning. So the learning today is going to be around those guidelines to a professional practice. And then in part three, we're going to dissect some questions. And that in and of itself is part of the strategy for the MBLEx. Yeah, to understand how to pause, read the whole question, read all the answers, and then pick the best answer. So we're going to practice that today too. All right, so today we're going to get started right from the PowerPoint. Yes, so welcome back. Welcome back to the MBLEx review course. I am just so pleased. It fills my heart to spend this time with you, to offer a time of the day. And maybe you're not here live, maybe you're watching this recorded, but you are carving out this time to learn. And for those of you who are here live today, thank you for being present here with me. It is my vision to put amazing massage therapists out into the world. And this silly little test is not going to be the reason that you don't get to practice. That's my vision, is to put amazing massage therapists out into the world. That's why I do this. Yeah, for real. Because we need great therapists. We need people just like you out there in the world. So thanks for making the time. Thanks for preparing for this test. Yeah, you're going to get it. I promise. Who am I? I never really talk about who am I. My name is Jodi, like I said, and I've been a licensed massage therapist since 1994. Yes, can you believe it? 29 years, you guys. I still practice too. I see 10 clients a week still. Yeah. I have worked with a lot of elite and pro athletes. Here you see a picture of me at a triathlon. Let's see if we can move this little thing over here. I think if we do that, yeah, I'll move me over there. In the lower right-hand corner, that is me with the medical team at DC United. I worked with professional soccer for 10 years. That was 1 year, actually 3 times. 3 times we won the national championship, and that's the national championship trophy for professional soccer, Major League Soccer. I also was adjunct faculty at Northern Virginia Community College. I taught in their massage therapy program. I taught the business classes, supervised clinic, and supervised all of the off-site work that we did. And I've been teaching the MBLEx review course for quite some time. And, oh golly, I don't even remember what year I started, but I graduated, as I mentioned, in 1994, but I passed this test in 2016. I actually went and took it while the Federation allowed everyone to come and take it. Now there's a different system. In fact, I want to mention that system to you in just a moment, but this is who I am, and this is what I bring to you. This continues my opportunity to teaching online, specifically for you guys who are either just finishing school or have finished school. Maybe you finished school some time ago and you want a little refresher on preparing for the MBLEx. That's what I'm here to do. Get you ready with the knowledge and with the strategies. So let's talk about those strategies for a minute. Here are the most common challenges that we face in taking the MBLEx. One is mindset. Having a positive mindset is important. Look, I understand. Life happens. Sometimes, we have a day, we have a minute, we have a thing. And we come back to classes like this, communities like this, where you can have a positive infusion. Yeah, you can plug into something positive. Yeah, because I know you can do this. I know it. I know it for you. Yeah. And so being intentional about our mindset, take the time you need to be angry, hungry, lonely, whatever it is that is the mindset challenge that you tackle. But know that you can come back here. You can come back to this time, this space, this study, and know that this is part of your bigger picture. So mindset is a challenge. Lack of knowledge is a challenge. Yeah, lack of knowledge can be a challenge. I mean, some schools were better than others, right? So sometimes I have graduates tell me, oh my God, I never learned this in school. I love that, because we're building on your foundation and we're giving you more. Bonus. Fear, anxiety around test taking. That's a real thing. Yeah. And we can name it and reframe it. And many, many graduates have told me they have test taking anxiety. You wouldn't be human if you didn't have test taking anxiety. Now, some have it more than others. Some have it big, like, I won't even register, right? Let's just name it. If that's you, that's okay. We can walk through that. We can walk together through that. We will all have some degree of it. Yeah. 4, ineffective study sessions. Don't know what to study. Oh my gosh, I have all my books piled up. And we never really study. We're still like getting organized to study. Right? Yeah. Well, maybe create a space where you go to study that you can keep organized, or that you can maybe even have a backpack, something you take with you. Maybe you go to the library to study. I love the library. I do. I love the library. Everybody in there has the same intention, right? Quiet. Yeah. So number 5, inconsistent studying. Inconsistent studying means that, oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks. That happens. It's a challenge. We overcome that by having an appointment with ourselves at least once a week, for example, Thursday at 12, that we come back to something consistent in our schedule. If you do not have it in your schedule, the likelihood is you will not study. If you don't have an appointment with yourself, you'd be surprised how many other people will tell you what needs to be done. How many other people can fill your schedule for you? For real. 6, meaningless homework. That has to do with ineffective study sessions, but not knowing what we need to study and not knowing ahead of time what you want to study. Typically, I recommend you work through the 7 categories of the MBLEx. So the Federation of State Massage Therapy Boards is the one who administrates the MBLEx, and they've given us 7 categories. Once a week. If you're only doing once a week, fine. Just work through those 7 categories and stick to that category. If you're slotted to study business, don't be wandering off studying anatomy. I know anatomy is something you can get lost in, but focus that homework. Make it meaningful. 7 is memorization as the only tool. You are not going to memorize your way through this test. I promise. You actually have to use your critical thinking. Yeah. You've got to be thinking. Because there are several right answers. You're going to see in even today's questions, there's several right answers in every question. So memorization ain't going to do it for you. Sorry. Feeling overwhelmed? Yes. Rushing through test questions? Yes. All right, is there 10 or I can't quite see the bottom of that. My little screen won't go away. But anyhow, what's the good news about all of these challenges is you can control all of these. Oh, I see number 10 now. Weak test-taking stamina. We got you. We've got a practice exam. You can build your stamina. In fact, I was talking to a graduate recently about their stamina with their test taking. And there was something else that'll come to me. But these are things we can control. Preparation. Yeah. So we can control. And that's the good news about all of these common challenges. So guidelines, we're going to talk next about guidelines to a professional practice. But before we leave the common challenges, I just want to mention that if you need any help in figuring out how to register for your MBLEx, please reach out to me. Either message me on in our patron community, or reach me via email at Jodi, Jodi, at jodischoles.com. My name's plastered everywhere around here. So Jodi Scholes, SC with holes, SCHOLES. So Jodi at jodischoles.com if you have any questions about registering. In fact, I just heard from a graduate who registered, and you know what? She had 5 months. That was her window of opportunity to take her test. So normally it's 90 days. She had longer. I would love to hear from you if that's been your experience. Typically it's 90 days. Once you register and pay for your exam, you have up to 90 days to schedule it. She had a little longer. Things are changing. We stay up to date. That's why, again, you're a part of this supportive community to keep up with the newest advances, as the newest changes, the newest good news about the MBLEx. All right, let's do this thing. Guidelines to a professional practice. This is what the Federation tells you is on your test. So this is one category out of 7. It is 15% of your exam. And these are the things that you'll want to be aware of. So we're going to cover the first 5 sections of this. We're going to cover the first 5 bullet points on this today. But this is 15 questions. So 15% of your exam is guidelines to a professional practice. A lot of this is common sense, but we want to make sure that we're picking the best answers by way of the MBLEx. So let's start off. Let's jump right in. Guidelines to a professional practice, the proper and safe use of equipment and supplies. This is part of what you need to know. So for example, let's take a look at hot stones. So there are contraindications for hot stones. If you have a depressed immune system, if you have lupus, mono, Epstein-Barr, if you are currently recovering from cancer, if you are being treated for cancer, you'll need to get a consult with your doctor to make sure that it's not contraindicated for you. Also, if you have a skin condition, that's like skin cancer, burns, eczema, things that are creating sensitivity on your skin, that would be a contraindication for hot stones. This speaks to understanding how to use equipment in your practice. So, have you been trained on hot stones? The ABMP offers insurance for liability insurance for your massage practice, and they ask you to elect whether or not you are going to do hot stones in your practice. It's very good to have the extra insurance, just in case. Very, very rare to have any injury or burning from hot stones, but you've got backup. That's why you've got the ABMP, AMTA. Probably heard about those two organizations at school, but this speaks to them supporting you with equipment, hot stones, hydroculator. Here we saw a crock pot, but knowing the contraindications for specialty treatments and using that equipment properly. Other contraindications for hot stones would be if you have any neuropathy. This is something you might get tested on the MBLEx when not to use hot stones. So diabetes, high blood pressure, uncontrolled mostly. Even, like if they're taking medication for high blood pressure, make sure it's controlled. So any peripheral vascular disorders, so anything that has to do with peripheral, so that would be, there's another peripheral that makes sure, Raynaud's make sure hands and feet cold. We're not putting, sometimes we put the stones right in their hands, right? But peripheral neuropathy, any neuropathy, means that you're not feeling, right? Neuropathy. You're not actually, the sensitivity is less, whether it be hands or feet. That would be a contraindication for hot stones. Also, if you're not trained on hot stones, hello, don't do things you're not trained on. Duh, right? And then certain medications, if you're on blood thinners, if you have heat-related side effects to your medication, they make you feel very warm, you may not want to do hot stone therapy. Now, hot stones can be lovely. If you've had a hot stone massage, you know it can be very soothing. But you also want to know that children, pregnant women, cardiac patients, not good candidates for hot stones. If you're elderly, just let your therapist know. Then if they're elderly, you're going to have to gauge, is that going to be a good treatment for them? And you may need to adapt that treatment from what you've been taught. Maybe you won't use as many stones. Maybe you'll only use them to place. And remember, hot stones are kept at a specific temperature. It's 110 to 130 degrees, right? And so this is part of the training that you get to be competent at a hot stone massage. No winging it, right? So if you haven't practiced your hot stones in a while, maybe trade with somebody who's got some stones. Go get a stone massage. Yeah. Moving along, we'll move away from the proper and safe use of equipment and supplies to talking about therapist hygiene. Do you remember this from school? You got to wash your hands. Yeah, you got to wash your hands. You have to have sanitary hand washing techniques. There are 5 steps to that. You'll apply, you'll wet your hands and apply the soap, right? And in this case, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, that's their little logo right there, says go ahead, turn off the tap water. Apply the soap. Make your hands, doesn't matter hot or cold water, but apply the soap. Lather your hands. Lather the back of your hands. In between your fingers, under your nails. I have a cute little nail brush. And you're going to scrub your hands for at least 20 seconds. And you need to figure out how long 20 seconds is. You can sing happy birthday, the happy birthday song twice. That'll cover you. 20 seconds is at least. Feel free to go longer. That 20 seconds is also, even with the COVID new standards of hygiene and sanitation, still a best practice. So then you're going to rinse your hands under the water. It doesn't say you have to use a towel to turn off the tap, but it does say use a clean towel to wipe off your hands and to dry them, or to let them air dry, or use a Dyson. And you may want to consider grabbing that towel and using it for the door handle, right? Or to turn off the tap. But these are the standard steps in hygienic hand washing. All right, we'll move on to sanitation and cleanliness. Now, didn't we just talk about sanitation? We did. But only in terms of your own hand washing. What about your treatment room? Let's take a look. All right, and we've had really to up our game with sanitation since the COVID pandemic. So you're going to sanitize, you're going to protect yourself when you're taking off your linens. So fold them in, and again, for the purposes of the MBLEx, we're going to talk about like high grade best practice, okay? How it rolls in your practice, in your treatment room, that is going to be up to you. But this, if you get tested on this, this is your answer. So you're going to open the windows or the doors, and you're going to turn on any air filtration or ventilation systems, especially prior to using the sanitizing product, because it stinks and it can give you a headache. But be careful as you're removing your sheets. Fold them in and bring them to the proper container. You're also going to launder your sheets properly. You're going to use hot water. Again, best practices for the planet is to use cold water. But if you're asked, best practices is to use hot water and the high heat setting on the dryer. Again, the idea is to kill any bacteria, any virus, any germs that are on those sheets. Also, to get your sheets clean. Clean your table. To be honest, I don't clean my table after every session. I clean my headrest after every session. And this is also a best practice in sanitation to clean everything, including your bolster, your headrest, any of the equipment that you've used. If you have a Theragun, to wipe that down, I wipe down my bottles. This is best practices for sanitation. Let's take a look at best practices for sanitation as it pertains not only to your treatment room, but to your facility. So if you, depending on where you're at, where you're practicing, you might be practicing from home, or you may have rented a location. But let's talk about what that looks like again in terms of a brief review for the MBLEx. So safety means that hallways are free of clutter. So if you are going down the hallway, if you are bringing someone into your home, it is clean and it is safe. Otherwise, don't bring them. This is a part of professionalism. And you may say, oh, Jodi, it's, my family, it doesn't matter. It still matters. It does. It still matters. So just make sure that and of course, and if you're in a commercial location, you can expect this of your landlord, of your employer, or of yourself. So hallways are lit, you're going to clean out your fridge weekly. All right, that speaks to the office, right? If you're in charge, then you're going to clean out the fridge. But if you're not in charge, you're going to expect that the fridge is being cleaned out weekly. Otherwise, it's stinky. So that cleaned and vacuum carpets, there's the stock of antibacterial soap, paper towels, sanitation safety. If you're sick, don't work with clients, and also who's sanitizing the bathroom? If you are bringing a client into your home, do you have a designated bathroom for your clients? It has to be clean and free of personal effects. Yes. Be aware of like tchotchkes that you have in your office, in your treatment room, in your bathroom. We want it to be safe and somewhat neutral so that it actually feels clean. Look for dust. Look at the door. Look at the door handles. Yes. And as it pertains to the MBLEx, right? These are best practices, the high sanitation and safety standards. Let's take a look at the occasion, how to prevent injuries by falls. Have a flashlight. You don't know when the power is going to go off, right? So have a flashlight. Just make sure there's nothing there that'll trip people. If you've got your wire, for the heating pad, make sure that that is secured, that's either taped down or that it's not in the way of where your client will be walking. You can consider putting handrails on the stairways, grab bars in the bathrooms. Depends on the age of the clients that you're seeing, but again, this is best practices. And make sure there are signs that tell people where they're going. So we also want to look at inclement weather. Are your stairs and steps in good working order? This seems pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, but if it's icy and you have a client coming, then think about whether that's going to be safe. Think about whether it's going to be safe for you and safe for your client. These stairs do not look safe, even though people have mashed through them. As soon as it gets dark, those stairs are going to be slick. They are going to be frozen and slippery. So keep that in mind as you're making decisions about seeing clients and where to see clients. Are those stairs and steps cleared? In fact, stairs and steps disqualify your facility from being ADA compliant. Americans with Disabilities Act. Yeah, if you're on the second floor, then technically you need an elevator, or you need a way for someone in a wheelchair or someone who is disabled to find your facility. Likewise, if you're on the main floor, again, now this isn't, you don't have to retrofit your home, but as you look at spaces, are they ADA compliant? Is the bathroom ADA compliant? And know if you do decide to build out a space, these are things you're going to have to comply with. And for the purposes of the MBLEx, we have to have space that is ADA compliant, unless there was a pre-existing office there. So these are things like just make sure the surface of the steps aren't slippery, there's light switches that you can find, all that stuff, or that it's well marked. Let's move into the next section of our guidelines, and we're going to go over body mechanics. And that's maybe, oh no, we're going to be able to go through it. So let's talk about body mechanics. So therapist care, this is where the section that we're on right now. And there's lots of video on body mechanics, but let's take a look at some of the important points specifically here. And the purpose of body mechanics is positioning the body in a way that prevents injury. Now, is this something that you learned at school? Because body mechanics are probably one of the top reasons that I've been able to practice for almost 30 years. And it is one of the top reasons, it's probably the main reason, one of the two top reasons that people leave the industry injured. If someone has left doing massage because they are injured, there is a strong possibility it is because they practiced poor body mechanics or they were never taught it, right? And so what does body mechanics look like? It looks like positioning your body in a way that prevents injury. Let's take a look at this specifically for the practice of massage therapy. So right now, lengthen your spine. Imagine there's a string on the top of your head, pulling it up ever so slightly. So during your massage sessions, think about the length in your spine. Think about your sternum being forward. So sternum forward, lengthen spine. If you only do that, you will be in great position to distribute your weight properly. How many times have you been told, oh my gosh, you must be so strong. You're a massage therapist. You must have strong hands. It has nothing to do with the strength of your hands. Do you end up getting strong hands? Yeah, probably. It has nothing to do. The smallest person, a child with tiny hands, could still do an amazing job doing massage therapy because of weight distribution. Now we're going to come back to this slide in a minute, but I want to go through, let me mention Fowler's bed position because that has come up on the massage, on the MBLEx. Fowler's bed position is sometimes also considered body mechanics because getting a patient in and out of a bed is, we're not doing that per se. We're not helping people. We're sometimes helping people roll over. But Fowler, I just wanted to make you aware of Fowler's bed position. It's positioning a patient at the 40 to 60 degrees. So typically it's with a patient who's had some type of lung issue. And so we want to, that just helps them to breathe more easily. But I want to show you this video, and I'm not sure if I can show it to you in our PowerPoint, but we're going to try. This is a friend of mine, Rebecca Fairway. She owns the Zion School of Massage in Utah. And here she gives us 4 minutes on the foundation of body mechanics. So I'm going to stop my share for just a moment because I'm going to go ahead and share with sound. And that way, let's see. I am going to go ahead and share with sound. All right. Shoot me a note in. I'm going to check the chats right now. Yes, if you go through, oh yeah, her, yeah, she's great. So just let me know if you can't hear. So if you can't hear, please let me know in the chat and I'll restart the video because she's terrific.
Hello, massage therapy friends. As many of you know, much of our massage therapy comes from the martial arts traditions and the yogic traditions. The Shaolin monks from China, the yogis from India, the Kalaripayattu, the Kathakali dancers, and of course, Muay Thai fighters. So these traditions from all around the world. So it's no surprise that when we do massage therapy that we have a responsibility and that we're going to be much more effective if we're using really good body mechanics, because these are tied to those martial arts traditions that teach you how to use your body in a fluid way, how to root down through the earth, have that power extend through your legs, have it extend through your upper body and through your arms. And so when you actually start working with the client, this is a very supported movement, and it's never using force. It's always using solidity and relaxation. In China, this is called conserving qi. In India, this is called the law of least resistance. So we have just 2 stances that we primarily use in massage therapy. We have this horse stance, and we sink down through the earth, and maybe we're doing some petrissage with this, but we want that movement to come through our whole body. We should never be working like this. It'll tense our arms, it'll tense up through our neck, supported. Okay. This will support your health, and you'll get better results with your clients. If you start feeling tired throughout your day, this is where we start to, revert to just muscling things, we call it, where we're not supporting our movements, where we're just working in isolation. So return, relax, soften more, okay? And then the other stance that we have is our warrior stance. And so we're in a lunge with our movements, and we have this pressure come from the earth into our arm or into our forearm, and gliding, and then pivoting, and then gliding back, and pivoting, and gliding. When yoga instructors, martial artists, when Muay Thai fighters come into the program with me at the massage school that I have, they advance very quickly because they understand this foundational principle. So those of you that are just learning this, spend some time practicing yoga, qigong, or just with these two movements, really grounding into the earth, softening your body, and allowing yourself to work in a way that is more effective, but also easier. So law of least resistance, conserving chi, moving your body as a full unit. Okay, see you soon. For information on becoming a licensed massage therapist, visit.
All right, so you got the idea there. Let's go. Let me just stop this share for just a moment as we get back to, so think about that with your body mechanics. Did you learn that in massage school? Did you learn the horse stance? This is a question I have heard from people, have been asked on the MBLEx. What is the stance that is the foundation for our body mechanics? And that is the horse stance or the warrior stance. These are things, if you've done yoga, that might sound familiar to you, or if you've done Tai Chi. So that horse stance, like, yes, great, yeah, exactly. I love that too, right? Thank you for the feedback on the video. Yes, that kind of, and Rebecca's amazing. She has a number of videos. And being grounded, so that movement actually starts at your ankles and knees. It moves up from your feet, through your ankles, through your knees, that force going into your hips. And I'd like to make the distinction. We're going to go back to our slides. And talk about this particular picture. So let's take a look at this. So Rebecca talked about having that movement, that horse stance. And this particular picture is a little bit more of a warrior stance where the left leg is in front of the right leg. You'll notice that the client is actually in side-lying position. And that's a challenging position to work, right? This is sometimes for pregnancy massage that our client will go into side lying. But take a look. So we're shifting the weight from the back foot to the front foot. There's a soft knee. So this is the alignment that we're looking for, shifting the weight from the rear leg to the front leg. That helps us to distribute that weight through our arm, through our forearm. And you see here, this therapist is actually working his shoulder. It's pretty cool, huh? And have you done a lot in side lying? If you haven't, it would be a great practice session. Maybe find a pregnant person who you know to practice your side lying on. You can practice the bolstering under the knee, right? Bolstering, holding on to that pillow. So those 3 pillows are really necessary for a side lying position. Under the knee, not under both knees, under the top leg knee, to hold, to hug, and under the head. That's in the side lying position. So when that client is in that position, in a properly bolstered position, you can distribute your weight through those body parts a lot more easily. Typically, we won't be in side lying, right? We'll use these body mechanics, the horse stance, the warrior stance, to use our body weight, not, as Rebecca said, in isolation, right? In this isolated movement, but really in the flow of the movement, letting the strength of our hips, the Our strongest muscles are in our legs and our glutes. That's where our movement, that's where our weight comes from with body mechanics. We want to tap in to the body weight. If you played any sports, maybe you played baseball or played tennis, or played golf. All of these sports, also, the strength is not in the arms. The strength is in the hips, is in snapping those hips, bringing that fuller, those stronger muscles into play. And that's what we do with massage therapy as well when we're practicing proper body mechanics. The other thing I'll mention about body mechanics, and then we'll move into dissecting questions, is adjust that table height. Right here, you see, adjust table height to between the wrist and knuckles. And so when you stand and your arm is at your side, I'm going to bring this down just a little. So you want a flat fist. I'll bring this up again. So a flat fist, right? So you're going to be like that, flat. That is that flat part, the table. When you stand beside the table, that's where the top, that flat part of your soft fist is going to land at the table height. Now, what happens if you have a big person show up? Hopefully you have an adjustable table. Or when that person has arrived, maybe have them take a seat and drop that table down just a little, because you want that contact point on that body to represent your body mechanics and your client. All right. And I think that's about, balance the shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Yeah, so soft joints. And I think you get the idea. A little body mechanics 101 for you. And again, taking that into the MBLEx, knowing that you're shifting from the back weight, the weight on the back foot to the front foot, keeping that long spine and letting that strength come, the force, the strength come from the hips and the abdomen and our legs. Our strongest muscles are in our legs and our hips, right? And our butt. Okay, we've talked about Fowler's and the 40 to 60 degrees. We've done our body mechanics.
Hello, massage therapy friends. As many of you know,
let's move along. So a little stretch break. Little stretch break. Yeah. So maybe you've been sitting quite a bit today. Just roll those shoulders back. In about the last 10 minutes of our class here as we go to dissect some questions. So yeah, so bring that knee up. Yeah, just go ahead and move that body. Maybe wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Yeah, all right. Shake it up, shake it off. All right, let's talk about dissecting questions. I love this cartoon. You complete me. Silly. All right, so let me get us out of the way so that you can see the question. In sanitary hand washing, how long do you scrub? Now, before you answer, look at all the questions. A, at least 10 seconds or 1 round of happy birthday. At least 20 seconds and 2 rounds of happy birthday. At least 30 seconds and 3 rounds of happy birthday. 60 seconds and sing happy birthday or Old MacDonald had a farm to pass the time. Now, in our test taking strategy, we try and eliminate 2 wrong answers. In this exercise, we're going to eliminate 1 wrong answer. But I see all sorts of questions. Yay, good, good, good. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked the video. All right, so we can get rid of, what can we get rid of? Let's see. Oh, I see some good answers coming in. Let's go to our next slide. We're going to get rid of 10 seconds because 10 seconds is way too fast. You will be surprised. The next time you go to wash your hands, make sure you last 20 seconds, man. Ooh. I gave away the answer. And so let's just move on to the answer. And that is to at least 20 seconds and 2 rounds of happy birthday. Yes, B is the answer, yes. So try it out though. You'd be surprised how long 20 seconds is. Yeah, sing 2 rounds of happy birthday. 1 round is usually torture enough, right? Or you can sing 1 version of Old MacDonald and pick an animal. Old MacDonald had a cow. Yeah, so, but at least 20 seconds, okay? Ooh. Using proper body mechanics prevents injuries. When lifting a heavy object, always bend from your blank. Always bend from your blank. When lifting a heavy object, always bend from your A, knees, B, waist, C, hips, D, waist and knees. Okay, can we get rid of one? Can we get rid of one of these answers? We can. Now, let's talk about when we're done with this. Yep. Good, I'm liking this, good. So we're gonna get rid of waist because there's a difference between the waist and the hips, right? But right now the question, I'll talk about that in just a moment, but using proper body mechanics prevents injury. When lifting a heavy object, you're always gonna bend from your, let's see what we got in the chat. I like what I see. Yes, it is your knees. Now, take a peek at this. And I almost did this to you today, but I didn't want to be cruel and unusual. See how this says waist and knees? If it had said hips and knees, that would have been the best answer. I did try and frame it in when lifting a heavy object, always bend from your blank. Okay? But be very careful between the difference of the waist and the hips. The waist, belly button, all the way around. That is the waist. And if we bend from the waist, let's see if I can illustrate this. We're bending just here. Here are my hips. In fact, touch your own hips. Touch your hips. Touch the acetabulums, your hips. Right, okay. Now, if you can stand. Do not bend at the hips. So if I'm bending at the hips, oh, we'll do this, yeah. Okay, so bending at the hips. That is a straight back and bending at the hips, right? Move up to here. Most people bend at the waist. You see what I'm talking about? There's a difference between the waist and the hips. Big difference. Lots of low back injuries come from bending at the waist. We must bend from our hips and our knees. We must move from our hips. Yes. So when you get up and down from a chair, that is your hips. If you keep a straight back, bend forward, that is bending from your hips. That is where you want to start with your body mechanics. Now, of course, in horse stance, we bend our knees, right? So bend our knees and our hips. But do not bend at the waist. If you're bending, if you're crushing your belly button, that is going to result in a very tired back at the end of the day. One of the ways I remember the proper body mechanics is that bending at the waist is a waist. Bending at the waist is a waist. We must bend from our hips. Okay, I think you get it now. Ooh, we have some chat. Yes, Yes. I know. Yep. I know. That's why I said, be careful, because the waist is different. I know a couple of people said, oh, you almost got me at the waist and the knees. Yeah. Yes. So hips. Now, if this had said hips and knees, that would have been the best answer. So that's why I want to explain the difference. All right. Client assessment question. Big long one. Here we go. John has been booked a hot stone massage. The client's chart indicates she has lupus and type 2 diabetes. It's winter, and she said that she feels cold all the time. John practiced hot stones in school, but hasn't done it lately. The administrative assistant has already set up the stones. So how should John proceed? All right, that's a lot of information, right? A, how should John proceed? A, check the temperature of the stones, that it's set to 110 to 130 degrees so he doesn't burn the client. B, tell the client that he hasn't done this treatment for a while, offer to reschedule, but offer to do the session and do his best. C, reschedule the client. D, watch a tutorial that shows how to do hot stones before the session. Now I see some answers coming in. Ooh, somebody's paying attention. Okay, let's eliminate one wrong answer. One answer we know is wrong. What is definitely something from the MBLEx? You would definitely, that would not be the right answer. Yeah, Devonna, you're right. Yes, Lauren, yes. D is definitely a wrong answer. Don't watch a tutorial, but also B is a wrong answer. This is not the client's decision. The client booked the hot stone massage. We know she wants it. So telling the client you haven't done this in a while, offer to reschedule, or offer to do the session, do your best. No, this is not a negotiation. No. All right. I saw a couple people put the answer in the chat. Anybody else want to jump in and figure out what would you think is the best answer here? There's two right answers. One is the best answer. Okay, here we go. Reschedule the client. Why are we rescheduling the client? Jodi, you've said over and over again, do the massage. If there's any way to do the massage, do the massage. Why in the world would we be rescheduling? C is the best answer, yes. Why would we be rescheduling this massage? What do you see in this description? I'll give you a hint. It has nothing to do with John. It has nothing to do with the therapist. The client's intake sheet, health intake sheet, indicates she has lupus and type 2 diabetes. These are contraindications to hot stone massage. And here's the thing. You can reschedule the client or you can not do hot stones. Right? Yes, exactly. It's contraindicated to do hot stones with type 2. So she just doesn't get hot stones. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Ooh, Fowler's bed positions refers to a patient positioned at blank degrees. If you have worked in hospital care, you probably know this by heart. But let's see. All right. So the options are 90 to 180 degrees. Remember, that's the Fowler's bed position refers to the patient who has maybe some lung issues. What's the degrees that they're positioned in? This is tricky. Ooh, I see the answers coming in. Yep. All right, so A, 90 to 180, B, 65 to 90, C, 60 to 90, D, 45 to 60. Oh, yeah. All right, let's get rid of one wrong answer. Can someone be sitting at 180 degrees? Yeah, can someone be sitting at 180 degrees? They can't sit at 180 degrees. Unless they're kissing their knees, I guess. So they're not, that's, A is not correct. All right. Fowler's bed position refers to a patient at 45 to 60 degrees. So 45 degrees is halfway between 90. 90 degrees is like this. Make sure you can see me here. Yeah, so 90 degrees is like this, right? That 90-degree angle, remember? That straight angle. 45 is halfway through. Yeah. Good job. Good job, you guys. All right, and I think that's it. Yay! We're on the finish line. Woo-hoo! Yeah. So I am so glad. Thank you so much for hanging in there with the guidelines to a professional practice. We don't often actually do that type of subject where we talk about hygiene or your facility sanitation or body mechanics. So this is fresh material, fresh going over, and I'm so glad that you took the time today to dedicate this to learning more about your craft, to learn more about how to take the test, to learn more about how to dissect questions, to learn more about figuring out the best answer. Yeah, thanks for making the time today. My name is Jodi Scholes. I am going to stay on this call, this forum, for the next 5 to 10 minutes to answer any specific questions you may have. But other than that, signing off for today. Thanks again. My name is Jodi Scholes, and I'm your instructor for the MBLEx review course. See you again real soon.